Hello everybody, my dear friends, clients, astrology lovers, and the followers of my channel. Here is Olga Vasilchuk from sunny Costa Rica. Yes, I am back. I have a small recorded video for you today about the upcoming eclipses of summer 2019. I will be back very soon with the live streaming, the analysis of transits for the month, and with the tarot reading. So stay tuned for the notification, to receive the notification about the upcoming live streaming. I would like to remind you today the information about the axis of the signs Cancer, Capricorn, where we will have the eclipses of this summer. And just to mention a couple of things about the main characteristics of the two eclipses. So do remember I have a video about the axis Cancer Capricorn. Well, why not refresh our memory, right? So the Cancer Capricorn axis is the axis of responsibility, and its goal is to learn to take care of ourselves while taking care of others, something which can take the form of duties towards family and society. The Cancer wants to be reassured that he will receive care and safety while satisfying his emotional needs in the field of his personal and familial responsibilities. The Capricorn also looks for security and support, but through social order and the rules of the law, thus focusing on fulfilling his professional duties. Both signs are in search of a balance between egoism and selflessness. The Cancer is looking for emotional and spiritual connection through care for others. This is how he satisfies his personal psychological needs. If he becomes too absorbed in caring for others, he can become extremely dependent and in the end feel quite unhappy. He can turn into an internal protector, giving everything to others but being afraid to receive anything in return. The Capricorn is more concerned about the needs of society and acts on the material and concrete levels, motivated by physical and material order. He is convinced that he will satisfy his own material needs if he assumes responsibility towards the protection of social order. But in cases when the Capricorn ends up thinking about personal ambitions more than duty, he will tend to use power for his own personal ends. So the Cancer-Capricorn axis teaches us how to find balance between our familial duties and our social responsibilities. It also teaches us to understand that when we cannot help ourselves, we cannot expect help from others. And by helping others, we also show them how to take responsibility for their own lives. So you know that on the axis of the two opposite signs, the nodes can be placed in two ways. The south node can be in Cancer and the north node in Capricorn, and vice versa. Today, the nodes are in the opposite position. We have Ketu, south node in Capricorn, and Rahu, the north node in Cancer. So what about the first position, the first placement? Maybe it's the case of your chart. The south node in Cancer, the north node in Capricorn. The gift of the south node in Cancer is compassion, warmth, sympathy, ability to care about and to communicate with others. The trap here is that the person can fall into a pattern of excessive dependence on others, on the emotional level first of all, always demanding support and attention. Or she can go to the other extreme, taking the role of the eternal benefactor, helping and taking care of for everyone, even when she's not asked to do so. The goal here, how to work on this axis of the nodes, is to learn self-reliance and personal responsibility while maintaining openness and accessibility on emotional level. Working on the north node in Capricorn, we have to learn to think about our own needs and to be responsible for our lives. As a result, becoming less dependent on the opinion and energy of others. What about the opposite position of the nodes on this axis? The south node in Capricorn, the north node in Cancer, which is the case of the actual transit. The south node in Capricorn provides one with a strong sense of self-sufficiency, of personal responsibility, of pragmatism, as well as inability to manifest desires, his own desires and ideas. The trap here is that the person is convinced that to depend on the help of others and on emotional ties is, in general, it's a sign of weakness. The person immerses herself into her work, she puts her career in front of her personal needs and ends up consuming a lot of time of energy, leaving no energy for her personal life. The goal here, how to work with this position of the nodes on the axis Cancer Capricorn. When working on the North Node in Cancer, we need to learn to let go, to tear down some walls, and to open our heart to emotional connections. Also letting others, allowing others taking care of us. The sign of Cancer that precedes the sign of Leo symbolizes the need to find our small place in the big world, the condition or conditions in which we will feel protected, safe, having the minimum to satisfy our biological needs. And at this point, what is important to us, for us, is to know ourselves as well as our deep inner motivations. So here, the subject of the eclipses of summer 2019 can be described in the following way. After the quest of self-realization, after the search for new levels of freedom, of love and creativity, which was the goal, or which were the goals in plural of the eclipses of the past 2.5 years, the eclipses that were formed on the axis Leo Aquarius, now we arrive at the inevitability of building a new order of things by focusing on what is the basis of our reality and on what can become the foundation of new projects of our life. So what does this foundation consist of? First of all, we are talking here about an internal foundation that we need in order to climb the zodiacal wheel, moving upwards. You remember the nodes move in the opposite direction of the zodiac. We need this foundation in order to occupy a certain place in the structure of the outside world. Outwardly, we are talking about the familiar world. What is familiar to us? Our family, our home, our house, the place of residence, deep emotional bonds, the way of life, and the usual order of things. The sign of Cancer is also symbolically associated with the areas of our safety and comfort. These are the invisible roots from which our tree of life grows. So the solar eclipse in Cancer of the 2nd of July, will bring changes and serious restructuring in all these spheres of life. New trends in family issues, changes in blood ties and relationships with our emotional accomplices, change of place of residence is not excluded, or in brief, the established way of life will change. On the internal level, many of us will eventually expand the inner areas of the comfortable and the familiar by changing the patterns of their worldview. So July 2nd, the new moon and the total solar eclipse in Cancer in the 10th degree of Cancer, 10:37:34, 3:16 Montreal time, New York time. So the conjunction of the Sun and the Moon will be on the North Node in Cancer. If we are not afraid to leave the comfort zone because of the fear of the world, then the following possibilities will open up to us during the eclipse. An opportunity to solve constructively family problems, to reorganize family affairs, to improve relationships with loved ones, to reach an emotional and psychological balance, to unlock the deepest internal resources. If we are too attached to the life that we have, that we lead, if we are attached to the life we are used to the order of things, to the daily life, to traditions, if we don't trust the world, but if we perceive it in a hostile way, if we defend ourselves from real and imaginary enemies. So in this case, the solar eclipse in Cancer can have the following consequences. We will be forced to leave our comfort zone against our will, forcibly. Any family problem related to real estate or the place of residence can lead even to extremely destructive scenarios which will be disastrous. Emotional and mental health can be shaken due to excessive anxiety, fears, and phobias that will float back on the surface. Emotional imbalance may cause psychosomatic disorders. So during the 2 weeks before the eclipse, during the 2 weeks after the eclipse, and especially the days close to the eclipse, it's necessary to work on the fight of the fears, on the cure of the offenses and the grudges, especially in relations to with our relatives and our loved ones. We have to work on the elimination of emotional blockages, of irrational fears, and of negative attitudes regarding relationships with the parents and relatives. It's necessary to peacefully resolve family problems, to establish emotional contacts with loved ones. It's also strongly recommended to do the internal work in order to not to fear, to widen the limits of comfort and security. Regarding our health, the stomach can be sensitive, as well as the organs in the chest area, the pancreas, and the female reproductive organs. And in order to understand how the solar eclipse will affect you personally, you need to determine in which house of your horoscope the eclipses will be projected. So in this sphere of life, you will see the restructuring in the scenarios of this house. Inevitable and fateful changes will happen. This is for sure. People who have personal planets from the Sun to Mars, or the cusps of the angular houses of the chart, ascendant, descendant, IC in midheaven, bottom of the sky, the 4th and the 10th house, in conjunction with the point of the eclipse in the orb of 3 degrees, will be particularly sensitive to the energies of the eclipse. If you have nothing in Cancer in the 10th degree, around the 10th degree of Cancer, this eclipse will create the background energy. So 2 weeks after the July 16, the full moon and the partial lunar eclipse in the 24th degree of Capricorn, 5:38 p.m. Montreal or New York time. So the moon will be in conjunction with the south node in Capricorn. So the lunar eclipse will occur on the south node on Ketu in Capricorn. You remember that the nodes will be on the axis Cancer Capricorn until May 2020, when they will move to the axis Gemini Sagittarius. So the theme of this lunar eclipse will reveal the interaction of the opposite principles of the axis of the signs of Cancer Capricorn, which I described in the beginning. So the moon will be in Capricorn. That's why we call the lunar eclipse by the sign in which the moon is at the moment of the eclipse. The sun will be in Cancer. What else is associated with the sign of Capricorn, in addition to what has been already said? Capricorn is the archetype of the mountain, of the summit of our achievements. It's long-term goals, high levels or the highest levels of our ambitions. It is the laws of time, of responsibility, of borders. And the lunar eclipse will occur in conjunction with the Saturn and Pluto. Saturn is being at its peak in the sign of its rulership, so maybe it will be difficult for us to make decisions regarding the 2 opposite houses of the chart, where the eclipses will be projected. Like during any full moon, and here during the eclipse, the karmic factor is involved in addition to the full moon, to the position of the sun and the moon. We will find ourselves in situations of choice, of decision-making, in the context of contradictions that will tear us apart. Fateful changes and restructuring cannot be avoided. And they can mainly affect the changes: our career, the status, professional activity, real estate issues, relations with the superiors and official institutions, issues concerning elderly people. And as during any full moon, during the position of the moon and the sun, and in addition, in conjunction with the axis of the nodes, which gives the formation of an eclipse, introducing the karmic factor in the situation, we speak about the culmination in the development of the situations, processes, and trends that started in January 2019 during the previous eclipse season. But these may be processes that have been lasting longer than that started way back, long time ago, not only this January 2019. What else is the particularity of this lunar eclipse? It happens on the south node, so it means that everything that leaves our life as the result of our choice will really draw the border between what we still need and what we do not need anymore, what we no longer need. Everything that is used and obsolete will be cut off. Many people will not continue moving forward with us. They will step up from our path. They will disappear from our life. And the lunar eclipse is in conjunction with the Pluto. It means that all changes will be profound and will happen on a very large scale. How to arrive at a constructive result according to the subject of this lunar eclipse? What should we aspire to? We have to become aware of our internal and external boundaries and to be ready to rebuild them. And we have to be ready to rebuild the patterns that we use to draw these boundaries, the patterns that may be obsolete and useless and thus hinder our development. So what behavior strategy should we choose? Accept that we ourselves are responsible for our life and for everything that happens to us. Seek new levels of responsibility. Move to new scales in life's big projects. Do not be afraid to set the bar high in our career before anything else. Cultivate discipline, practical attitude, patience, planning, respect towards engagements. Face our fears, get rid of limiting beliefs. In terms of health, the sensitive parts will be teeth, skin, chronic diseases and their exacerbation. There's a risk of getting cold, of injuries, fractures, kidney stone formation. Also, have the beginning of the retrograde loop of Mercury. So during this period of time from now until the eclipse, there will be many stressful events in our life, but we will inevitably move towards the transformation of the present life, to the transformation of the order of things. And here again, to understand how the lunar eclipse will affect you personally, it's necessary to determine in which houses of your horoscope, on the axis of which houses, in plural, the axis of the eclipses is projected. In these areas of life, in plural, we can count on restructuring, changes, inevitable and fateful changes, and we will be especially on the crossroad. We will experience confrontations, collisions, the inevitability of choice regarding the two respective areas of our life. Okay, choices that will concern the opposite houses that receive the projection of the eclipses. And people who have personal planets from the Sun to Mars or the cusps of the angular houses of the horoscope in the conjunction with the point of the lunar eclipse with the orb of 3 degrees will be particularly sensitive to the energies of the lunar eclipse. And this happens always with eclipses. The essence and the magnitude of the changes are neither visible nor obvious at the time, at the moment of the eclipse. They're not even visible. The changes are not visible even during the season of eclipses. This will happen later. The changes will show up later, like in 3 months, by the period of the midpoint of eclipses. So, my friend, this is it for today. I have a special offer. If you want to analyze the impact of the eclipses on your personal situation, I offer the following formula. Analysis of the eclipses of summer 2019 on your life. The analysis of transits for the next 12 months. The analysis of the secondary progressions on your life, also for the next 12 months. And one question that I answer through tarot or Lenormand French cards. The description of the special offer for the season of eclipses is available on the front page of my website, new.astroesotericpro.com. So stay tuned, wait for the notification about the upcoming live streamings. I will be here, I will be back with the live streamings very, very soon. So thank you for your time, for your attention. Take care of yourself and see you very, very soon. Goodbye.